Breaking news, breaking news. Okay, I'm going to respond and react to this Jim Jones, Dave East, and Mano situation because I wanted to play all the way out before I get involved. And I'm just going to use this as a tutorial. It's not to speak on either one, but I want to give all of them a round of applause. All right, relax, man, relax. Y'all, I want to give them a round of applause because each one of them handled it as a man, and I'm going to break it down on why or why not and give the different insinuations in your windows and all other crap that, you know, you rat bastards is out there waiting on. But let's get this party started. All right. All right, you know what it is. Unique Mecca Audio, man. We in the house. We're going to make sure that this thing is right. I want to make sure y'all are tuning in. Now, this Jim Jones and Dave East and Mano, with Mano wanting to go to the party and Dave East choosing to go to the party, and that seems to be a problem in the talk on social media. I'm going to play a video and I'm going to react to it to give you my point of view from an OG's perspective. All right.
Next one. Would you be okay with your friend doing business with your enemy?
Right there, I would have told Jim to choose your words wisely. You say your enemy. Is this a stance that you draw and it's time to draw blood and you want him to no longer be breathing? Because when you say enemy, that's what that means. That means taking out that person. So those words have to be choose right. And you're going to notice that Mano is going to respond to it from the perspective of exactly what it says as enemy. But the first thing I would want to know is he your enemy or y'all just going through it right now? Can this be worked out? Will you be willing to work this out? I need to know all that before I make my stance, because I don't want to get involved in a spat that's going on that I know and you know that it's going to be worked out later, and I done took a stance, and now the other party looking at me funny for taking a stance, and you done went against your stance, and now he's your friend again, or you're doing business again. That's what I would have asked. But Mano is like an aggressive, direct person, so he taking it for what it is. Jim used the word enemy. I want you to understand that. And that's how we're going to break this down proper, where we're going to let you know what it is.
You asking me?
Yeah. See, that threw him off. That's why I said, you asking me? That was the time to think. That's like you on the mic, right? Mano, when you go 1, 2, 1, 2. You know, that's how we did it back in the day.
I can't go to the Max B party because you're my friend. Yeah.
Jim felt proud at that moment.
Why? Because you my friend. Yeah. Talk about
y'all, and I felt that loyalty in my heart. That's why I said he right, because that's how you're supposed to hold your friend down. If your friend say, man, I'm not dealing with this person, that person, you're supposed to hold them down. But those questions that I just stated in the beginning is supposed to be asked before you make your stance. You need to know exactly where their stance is at. Because I don't want to see 6 months from now is what Mano's supposed to tell him, you and him on the stage, you know, passing the mic together, and you telling me don't go to the party and ruffle his feathers when you know it's something that's going to be worked out, or you're willing to work out, so you know it's going to work out. Now, if you ain't going to work it out, then that's where we at. All right, let's keep this moving.
About it.
I heard some shit about you. I heard some shit about you on the internet. About me too, man. I heard you got kicked. What they say?
Got that horse flowers, baby. That's nice, big of valve. I use it myself.
Yeah, they did. He said you was dead. He said you was out. I didn't even remember. This is crazy. That's what they told me. He said he was out. The internet kicked you off.
I can't rap about it no more.
But people don't know. You see, both of us have different opinions, and I think it's dope that because I always feel like two things can be true at the same time.
Right.
Right. You felt one way, I felt another way.
Right.
You went to the party, but you had already had a conversation. Talk about it.
Yeah, I feel like I never was around Max. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we had our own relationship through who we know or whatever. And me being around Jim as long as I've been around Jim, and Jim being around my moms and my kids, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta holler at Capo. Like, yo, bro, how you feel about that? Because I got invited.
Now, that was 100. You know, that was 100. Because basically he's saying, all right, you got your thing going on with him. And, you know, I know y'all probably go work it out later because it ain't detrimental where you're going to kill each other. But I was invited to the joint family. So, you know, I'm just letting you know that I'm going, you know, or how you feel about me going. And that's not equivalent to him asking permission. It's asking just that. How do you feel about me going? You know what I mean? And then once he say how he feel about me going, then I'm going to let him know, you know, what my stance is that, yo, all that is cool, but that's between you and him. You understand what I'm saying? You my man, he my man. You know, it's not detrimental. So I'm going to go ahead. Let's take a ride. Let's take a ride. I done been in situations where I'm on the street where it's dudes throwing parties that don't get along with dudes that I'm with. You understand? So being that I'm with them, they don't get along with them. They know when they come to the Mecca or to Club 2000 that all that is put aside because that's called respect. There's neutral ground. You understand? So that's where that's at. So now wherever I choose to go, because this one is beefing with this one, and then I decide to go to a party that he's having, that don't mean that me and him is tighter than me and you. That just means that I wanted to go to the party, you know, or I was invited to the party. I chose to go to the party, and that's what I chose to do because I'm my own man. But that don't mean that I don't love, respect you, and I'm here for you 100%. I'm just my own man. You know what I mean? Because if it's not that serious when you talk about taking a life, it ain't nothing to even talk about, man. All right, let's keep this moving.
Yeah, directly, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm gonna definitely have that convo with bro before I just pop up and he got to hear about it.
And that was the realest thing right there. You know what I mean? Like he said, he had a convo with bro and let him know, yo, what up? You know what I mean? You know, I'm planning on going to this party. You know, I was invited to this party. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't understand why social media is making a big thing out of it and saying, oh, Jim gonna kick Dave out and Dave did something wrong. Dave ain't do nothing wrong. Mano ain't do nothing wrong. Matter of fact, and Jim ain't do nothing wrong. Jim's standing his ground as far as, you know, as the capo, you know, where do y'all stand? You understand? But that don't mean that they're any less, but that let them know that, okay, they each their own men because they each made their own stance and they're entitled to their stance. It's not up to me to judge that this one is right and that one is wrong, because now I'm putting feelings and emotions in, you know, in the movement, in the survival. Because at the end of the day, Dave East making songs, Mano making songs, you know, Max B coming home making songs, you know, they want to make money together. You want to move together as a unit. New York has to come together. That's why I respect the way Mano sat down. And I know for a fact that Mano had to go to Jim and try and, you know, mediate and squash this behind the scenes. Whatever happened or however Jim responded behind the scenes, that's one thing. But from what I see of Mano, from watching him on this YouTube, where, you know people from looking at him, and, you know, you never know fool till, you know, they open their mouth. But, you know, Mano's no fool. You know what I mean? Every time Mano says something, it's strong, it's to the point, it's to the code. You understand? He's a loyal dude. He's a Brooklyn dude. You can see the Brooklyn aggression in him. You know what I mean? He don't have the laid back, the extra, you know, wrinkle here, there in the shoulder. You know what I mean? He's always on war mode, you know, and that's where his mentality is at. So when Jim said, man, would you go to your enemy's party? He answered right. But is Max really Jim's enemy? Put it in the comments. Do y'all think that Max is really Jim's enemy? Because I got them making up. I got them working out their differences. Because these brothers, they grew up together, they made music together, they ate together, they broke bread together, they traveled together. It's too much going on, and I don't see nothing in here that should be detrimental in that degree, because they have something they use now called the court system. Back in the day, dude might want to pull the pistol in, you know, over something like that, because emotions get involved. But now these young men is getting the bag, so they're a little bit more elevated, so they don't let their emotions get involved to have to. That's why I feel they're going to work it out behind the scenes. Y'all put in the comments you think they're going to work it out behind the scenes. Hold up.
That's just me.
No, it's definitely honored in it, bro. And I think, like I was saying, like me and Fad was talking earlier, as individual men, we don't always have to have the same thing.
There you go.
Right? I felt like, because the relationship I didn't build with Cap over the last 5 or 6 years, that I just felt like it wasn't in me to go stand next to anybody he had an issue with or whatever, because the relationship is strong and it's past.
Man,
see right there, that's where I know Mano went and spoke to Jim, because Mano said himself that Max B used to come over to Brooklyn, started recording with them, so they have their own relationships. So I'm sure they talking behind the scenes. It's not no enemy thing like they beefing and they trying to kill each other. So they got each other's numbers by now, and I'm sure that they're already working it out, saying whatever have to be said, and all y'all making these videos gonna look crazy as hell, but you're gonna get a bag because y'all sure getting a lot of clicks from spreading false propaganda that all this is going on, when I know these young men is more mature than that they're going to work this situation out. That's why I don't understand how people even do that, because that's not even worth it, because you have to know how to understand that we talking about the street right now. You know, these are dudes that was there where Max is at right now, but then now, you know, he's over here, he home, he free. You know what I mean? He just got a bag from running up in Salsa con Fuego. I was up in there. I put it on my Instagram. It's on the screen, Unique Mecca Audio. You know, he came up there. He did his thing. So right now, his mindset is different than it was back then when he was, you know, grinding. You know, he's still grinding, but he was on his knuckles grinding then. You understand what I'm saying? When you're scraping your knuckles on people's face on the concrete, you're fighting every step you take. That's where he was at. Now he come home and see Capo sit back, laid back. French Montana got a billionaire, you know, princess. I mean, come on, man. The world is changing. Nobody mentality is back there to that, you know, knuckle grinding. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments. Somebody let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. But, you know, that's where it's at. Then you see people like 50 Cent. Look at 50 out there doing his thing. I'm watching his shows every week. I'm even watching the Tommy Force. It's a brother that was getting it off his knuckles. Max B sat in the prison cell for 17 years and watched that. I sat in the prison cell and watched that for 26 years. That's why my mentality is different. That's why I understand his mentality. And he had loyal people that was there holding him down. And that's the hardest thing going to jail, is finding loyal people to hold you down. But he had Black, he had Vaughn, he had loyal people holding him down. So he come home, everybody get in position, everybody get in formation, the bags start coming in, everybody quit their jobs, put their time and their energy behind their brother and keep it moving. And that's how a family move. That's how a family eat. And they get a round of applause, man. We got to give Vaughn and you know, Black a round of applause. All right, relax. But you understand what I'm saying? I mean, they entitled, I'm talking about Mano and Dave, they entitled to have their own stance as a man. And whatever you choose as your stance, you can never be wrong, as long as you're willing to defend that stance. If you don't agree with that, put that in the comments. All right, let's see where your mind is at. Let's build in these comments. Because everybody running with this on social media like it's an issue when I know it's no issue. These is men that see in the bag that the mentality is different. Max walked out from calling home, asking somebody to send him some money to, walking into South Circumfrago, walking into the Paramount in Brooklyn into a sold out show. Come on, dog. You think he gonna blow that? Talking about he want to argue about some crumbs from balling or whatever he did back then? He might keep the hype talking to keep it moving, for the social media presence. But the bag that Max getting ready to get now compared to, that balling bag, I even hear them saying that they compare Max to Drake. And from what I've been looking at, because I was in prison when he was out doing this thing. You know what I mean? I heard of him from talking to my son on the phone and my man, Bobby Taff out there, my brother. I mean, but I never even heard none of his music. But then again, look, I've been in 26 years. I ain't hearing Biggie Smalls, Foxy Brown, what's the group they had out of Harlem with Mason, his sister, and all of this that was over there. I never heard none of that because I was locked away in a time capsule. And so was Max. But I was there a decade more. He came out at the right time where there's a generation that grew up while he was there and a generation that grew up with his music again while the other generation already grew up with his music. So he had a good time and got a good movement. Put in the comments if you think got a good time. He come home to French Montana. Come on, dog. Holding them down. And then now you're going to say, oh, I don't want to go to the party because of this. I don't want to go because of that. You know what I mean? Nah. You know what I mean? If it ain't detrimental, you go to the party. If it ain't a stance where a man say, I'm willing to kill and I'm willing to die for, you go to the party. And that's it. Listen, it's been parties that people threw, right? Let's ride. It's been parties that people have thrown, even homies that I was dealing with, but at that time I wasn't feeling them. And it was a big party because my homies throw big parties. I mean, this was a extravaganza type party where everybody go buy an outfit for a joint and go buy a new whip. I'm talking about this back in the money days where, it's a party. It's, I'm going to go get this new Benz. You know what I mean? I'm going to go get the new Porsche, Now I'm going to get the new Lexus. That's to go to a party. Dude's going to buy cars, one of those type of parties, And my crew can't wait to go. They don't know what I'm going through up here at this level. You know what I mean? With these men, you know what I mean? Because they down here and they in their lane. And they come to me and, yo, we going to the party, we going to the party. You know what I mean? I might be like, nah, I ain't going, but y'all could get ahead. And they like trying to persuade me to go. And I'm like, nah, I'm good, son. But y'all go ahead and have a good time. But I ain't trying to be around that. But I'm not going to tell them don't go be around them. Because it ain't that serious. Right now, I just don't want to be around them. Right now, I'm waiting to get my 200 grand. You know what I mean? A piece of me want to do something and a piece of me don't want to do something to him. So I'm like on the fence. So I don't want to look at him and get it tilted another way by looking at him throwing this big party and he owe me 200 grand and he got this big extravaganza going on. So I tell them, nah, y'all go ahead, son. Because I'm going to wait for my money after the party. I don't need to be at the party. Just bring my bag after the party. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how Jim feeling now. Bring my bag after the party. Y'all do all that right now. I ain't trying to be around it because we got our little differences. You know what I mean? But until we work that out, you know what I mean? Y'all go ahead, man. That's how I would have handled it if I was Jim. No disrespect. I would have told all of them, yo, y'all going to the party and show them some love, man. I'm going to fall back. And by my team coming, it's a representation of me, but let it be known that I got certain issues that I need to deal with him one-on-one with. And that party scene is not going to be the scene to be having that one-on-one. Is this making any sense to y'all? Put it in the comments. Make sure y'all subscribe to my daughter YouTube channel over here at Juanita Mecca Audio and the Real Boss TTTV. But that's where it's at. My team, y'all go ahead. You know, go represent our brand. But I'm staying over here as a man until I see this and all this that being said or whatever. And then we gonna deal with that. And then we see where we go from there. If y'all like this video the way I broke it down, man, go out and cop my man book. You know what I mean? A Miracle for Men. This by my man Leonardo DiCasio. His right name is Le Hands. Fire book. And here go another book out here from another one of my brothers. My man been in 32 years. This one been in 50 years. So if you want to go support somebody, go support my man Michael Wood. He been in 50 years in prison. I was with him in ADX back in the mid 90s, like 96 when Max was a kid. I'm serving this long ass bid. Go cop this book, man. Official. You know what I mean? Official. And he got mad pictures in it with all the official gangsters that he done been with. You know what I mean? So, you know, you definitely don't want to miss that. He got mad pictures in it and all that, you know, so you get to see the men in prison and, you know the stories he telling, you know, my man Mike Wood. But that's where we at, man. Been on here long enough. You know what time it is. All right.
Cheers, cheers, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, heat back on the strip, getting back in the mix. When he mentions a gift, you stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. An Instagram page and a YouTube you could go and visit. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca audio.